Hi guys, so welcome to my data science channel, and this playlist is Introduction to Data Visualization. And today we'll be looking at, we've already started Introduction to Tableau Public, and we are looking at discrete fields and continuous fields. Now I'm going to move over to this Jupyter notebook. I'm using it as my notepad. Now we're going to look at an important distinction between discrete and continuous fields. Now on the screen you can see that I've made some notes. So we are first off we're going to look at one of the first stuff here. We're going to look at the first one. Now discrete fields are almost always blue. It's not like they're almost always blue, they are blue, right? These values, typically shows their values are distinct and are separate from one another. But we're going to talk about that. But first off, we're going to move over to the Tableau Public, and we're going to understand what exactly is. We're going to understand what exactly is the a distinct field. So here I'm going to pick up this, right, which is a region. Just so you see that, I point to this, which is region. Now next I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it in one of these two places, the columns or the rows. Now I move this over here, and you see. Now an interesting thing about discrete fields is how they almost always create headers, similar to dimensions, right? So you can see that the headers are also here, right? And they define headers. They almost always define headers, just like dimensions do, right? So you can see this. Now, if I choose to move this from here and I drop it over here, you can see from here that it tries to define the headers over here. So this, you can see the definition of the headers over here. Now, so this is what it looks like. Again, if we move back to the notebook here, their values are distinct and separate from one another. You can just see over here again, you can see that they're separate from one another, right? Then finally, they can be reordered and still make sense. So, you can find them put into a different place. You can still notice how they are the headers. And of course, we have 4 regions, right? Again, another interesting fact, which I have shared before, is that it defines the row headers. So you can see the rows here again. If I point over to here, you see this, right? If I switch this to this, again, I would have to pick from here and the row headers. Even when you use colors, the colors makes them distinct. So if I move region from here and I drop it over here, again, you can see that we have distinct colors over here. So that's really an interesting one. Now, the next thing we're going to go to is we are going to now look again to continuous fields. And with continuous fields over here, we have their intuitions. Now, with a continuous field, one of the first things you would almost always notice about a continuous field, so if I come over here and I clear this, just basically clear this stuff, I'm going to take from here. So I'm going to be taking it from this one. And I didn't point out at first, but you can see these guys are green. And this one's over here are blue. So there are these over here, right, are the discrete ones. And these over here with the green are the continuous. Now, of course, those are dimensions and measures, right? So again, I take some, not some, cells, and I drop it over here. Now, from here, you can see that and I'm going to take it from this very spot here. You can see that the axis here flows from the first to the last. It's like a continuum. And if we move over here, you can see that it's one of it. You can see one of these things, first to infinite, right? So you see that's what's over here. Of course, it's green. They are almost always green, right? And then just as we put it either here in columns or in rows, you notice that there is a definition of axis over here. It tends to define the axis, right? So, but again, the interesting thing about the continuous fields, the continuous fields, and or rather the discrete fields and the continuous fields, is that they define how Tableau visualizes our data. You can see that if I now come over here and take region and drop it over here, you can see that a definition happens. I know that you typically think, but wait a minute, that's what dimensions and measures do. But typically, with dimensions and measures, they determine levels of details, right? But with fields like discrete and continuous, the visualization part, it now shows us how it's going to be visualized. So take your time and check this out, right? And watch it again and again. And after this, we take another step and learn something important.